Gangster Bet is Icon's next generation NFT collectibles of 5,555 gangsters and detectives, with changeable names and stats. Holders of Gangster Bet NFTs receive daily distributions of GBet tokens. GBet can be used to upgrade their NFT skills and stats. The supply of GBet will decrease over time and will stop after 9 years. Holding Gangster Bet NFTs will have opportunities for future airdrops and will give you access to Gangster Bet's highly anticipated metaverse. Learn more at gangsterbet.io. Shout out to our sponsors at Icon Bet. Open source, decentralized gaming, no deposits, play straight from your wallet. Icon Bet, made by the players, for the players. Eye on Icon is proudly supported by Icon Nation and the Icon community. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Eye on Icon, the episode where we go around the ecosystem and interview our builders, our creators. And today we have our creators with us today. A bit of a big group today. Do we want to do a round table and then tell, if it isn't already giving it away, what you're on the show to talk about? So let's do some intros first. Obviously, everyone knows Brian. Brian, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going, Pez?
Good man. We also have, I believe, your brother with us. Ben, how are you today?
Good. Good.
Good. And joining us, part of the team is Mike. Mike, how are you today?
I'm doing really well, thanks. Really excited to talk about Tamashii and all the stuff we have planned. So it's really exciting to be on here.
Love it. Look, we're excited to have you on. And, I'm so, can we take a moment and appreciate that I am talking to 3 Tamashis at the moment? World's first, right? Yeah, there's a Discord, but no one has actually gotten some FaceTime with you guys. So
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, Fez, I just want to correct you. The plural for Tamashi is also Tamashi.
Is it?
It's Japanese.
Oh,
There's no Tamashis.
Okay, I've got to remember that. I'll probably make this error many times today. Okay, cool. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. I've been humbled. Okay, so who would like to look? Before let's get started with we've done the intros. Now, can someone give me a bit of a backstory? Who wants to take the lead here? How did this idea come about? And yeah, I want a bit of a backstory, the origin story.
Yeah, I can take this one. So the whole Tamashi idea kind of came about from this dream that I had. It's a very intense dream, and in this dream, I had like a TV as a head, and essentially I was plugged into something, that was brainwashing me. I think like that week I was just watching a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. So I had this very intense dream, and in this dream I was wearing a TV head, and we were essentially plugged into something that was like brainwashing everyone. So there's actually concept art of me literally washing a brain on camera in the TV, and we kind of use this to inspire like some parts of the project. And I really thought about like this idea of creating a character that could reflect on society for like modern day. Because if you look at people in modern day society, right, like a lot of people are plugged into like everything, like government, media, like social media, even like games, incoming metaverse. So what if we create this character that would be the opposite of that, unplugging yourself? And that's where the Tamashi was born. And
Cool.
The idea behind that is Tamashi means soul in Japanese, and Nozumi means hope. So it's like these souls creating this new city of hope after unplugging themselves. And all of these characters, they play a part in rebuilding the city. And in terms of the story and stuff, though, I want to let Aldous talk about that part.
Okay.
Sorry, Mike. Mike.
Cool.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah. So Ben, how long ago did you have this dream?
Oh God. I had this dream probably in September, probably early September, and we launched like 2 days before Halloween. So it took about a month, almost a month and a half to develop it.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well then, so while you're talking, everyone, I'd like to give your part in the project, what you do as part of it. So, Mike, I'm guessing you've been creating the story of all the characters and everything. So yeah, talk us through what actually let's lead on to this. So when Ben came to you, Mike, and said, I had a dream, and can you tell us how that conversation went?
Yeah, I remember it very vividly. We were Ben and I have known each other for a long time, and we
Mhm.
were at a mutual friend's house. And I remember he came to me with a notepad and some concept art that he was sketching, and he told me, "I have this idea. Here's some concept art. Here's like the ideas that I want to invoke in the story." And he knew that I'd done some writing creatively in my spare time, never really for an audience, but I had dabbled in that before. And he said, "Do you want to be part of this? Do you feel drawn to this story?" And, after I heard the pitch, there was a lot of themes that I related to very personally and themes that I, had kind of rolled around in my head before. So, instantly I wanted to be a part of it. It seemed like a really great project to kind of sink my teeth into. So yeah, from there on, it led into this idea, this story, and right away we got the ball rolling. So I've been very happy to be a part of it. It's I think I tweeted something like this before. It's like um, you have this show that you really love and you want everybody else to watch it too. But it's in your head, so they can't watch it too until you write it out. So it's been really fun to watch people finally engage with something that's been forming for so long.
So, when you had this dream, Ben, now if memory serves me right, you haven't transitioned into crypto until recently, maybe. Maybe in the background. I know Brian's been very big on it. So,
Mhm.
was when you had this dream, did you envision it to create it through NFTs to do this? Move it into the NFT space and use
Mhm.
blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. Was that the original plan, or did Brian kind of go, well, hang on?
So a little bit before this, I think, was when Brian kind of introduced me to NFTs, and I actually like played around with some projects on Craft. It's actually this project called Space Punks, which is basically these punks with a space helmet on it. It's still somewhere on Craft, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, like the whole NFT space and me watching conspiracy theory videos just sort of like combined into this like very intense um inspirational dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've been involved in some crypto stuff. The NFT train took a while for me to understand.
Mm.
Like more like not like what it is, more like why it is. But like once I've popped on board, like I've definitely like can't get enough of it. So um, yeah.
Love it. Okay, well, over to you, Brian. So, can you talk us through how you're involved and what part you play in this project?
Yeah, sure. So I got involved with my brother, when we first started to do this, and he's always been a person who's like good with art stuff, which is like total opposite from me. Um, so I wanted to, I wanted him to leverage his skill in some way to be able to profit off in this space, because there's so much art that we see in the space that's just like so bad. So it was almost a matter of like, okay, well, if these people can do it, and I've seen some of the stuff that my brother has done. He's just a creative person. It's like certainly that like he could make something happen. So I was bugging him about it, and um, he finally looked into it. It kind of took a while, I think. I was
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
was
took a
telling
while.
you about it for maybe months, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I'll learn
Yeah, I
about
was
it." And then
procrastinating.
yeah, he was procrastinating, and then I think, of course, he finally had the time to dig in, and then we started. So as far as my role, I've just uh, been working primarily like on the website, um, and just like dealing with the technical sides of running a project like this.
Yeah.
But all of the creative stuff is like Ben, Mike, and our mysterious artist.
Yes.
Soap.
Okay. Mysterious artist, go on. Or was that?
Oh,
No, we can't.
oh,
We-
I just said that their name was Soap.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't go on about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it stays mysterious.
Okay. Well, so that's great. I didn't know that. I learned a lot. It's good to know how the idea came about, who's involved in what. Now,
Mhm.
now tell us how, from idea to, what's your goals here? Like, I'm keen to, like, it's very different. It's not just about a collection of 100 with rarities and things like that. The default stuff we see NFTs going
Mhm.
down. Um, uh, Tamashi is different, and I would love to hear everyone talk about why it's different and what's unique about your project. Who wants to take this one? Ben?
I think Brian can talk about it first. Yeah,
Go,
I think he
Brian.
has the. Brian.
All right. Well, I can go into it a bit as well.
Excellent.
In the meantime,
Oh.
to fill the air.
I was
So,
muted.
I mean, yeah, one thing that I personally really love about the Tamashii is there is a thematic uniqueness to them, where each one represents, not only like its own like independently artistically crafted JPEG, but there's also a deeper existential meaning to each of them. Like each of the Tamashii, I could just go on for a long time talking about kind of the deeper meaning behind each one. There's a lot to every single one of them, not only in terms of artistic style, but in deeper meaning. And as someone who likes to think a lot about deeper, complex topics, I find that really valuable and interesting.
That's cool. So, I guess what I'm getting at as well with the question is, each time falls, there's a story attached to it. You're kind of building a unique world through the NFTs, right? Have I got this? I want someone to listen to this podcast and go, "Yep, we've met the team now. Let me really understand what the
Yeah.
project is about."
Mhm.
Yeah. I I think that in the NFT space, a lot of creators often forget that NFT, like the T means token, which implies that you should be tokenizing something.
Mm.
And I find that there's many projects out there that if you ask them like exactly what are you trying to tokenize, what currently illiquid thing are you trying to tokenize into something that can be liquid or something that can be quickly transferred on a blockchain. And I I would wager that if you ask many people in the NFT space right now, if they have a project, like, what are you tokenizing? I think a lot of people might not be able to answer that question in a genuine kind of manner.
Mm.
So when we were first starting a project, I really wanted to make sure that we weren't going down that route, and that we were trying to actually um, kind of tokenize something that has a value that's associated with it. So in the case of what we're doing now in this first stage, in addition to this really good art that we also have a story as well. And within the story, um, these characters are featured. So if people go onto our website and they, click on the story, they can read the different chapters. Like the most recent chapter is book 1, chapter 3. And if people click on that, they can see all of the characters that are featured at the top, and then also within the actual story text, you can actually see all of the characters. They're interacting with each other. So what Tamashi has successfully tokenized is essentially like the character, the aspects of the character and their place in the story. And there's a lot that we can do in the future with this kind of thing, since there is a story associated with it, and you can always package a story into a product. People like to gather around a good story. Like the best stories out there. You look at a good example would be like the Pokemon stuff back in the 1990s. Like if Pokemon released as an NFT collection with just the art and no story attached to it, I'm not sure it would have been as big of a success as it has been, right? Like you just have these random like 150 monsters. They look cool, but there's no, emotional impact there. And I think when it comes to art, a lot of the value is in the emotional impact and the connection that you make with the character.
Yep.
So in Pokemon, I think a lot of us who grew up during that time, we have a lot of memories of like watching watching the show. You kind of put your feet into the shoes of the people within the show. You kind of form an emotional connection with the people within the show, and then also, of course, the Pokemon as well. And by leveraging that emotional connection, of course, the people behind Pokemon were able to expand the scope and create games. They were able to create like all sorts of things to sell. And the only reason why that could have happened is because the people could form an emotional connection with the characters. So that's why we're moving ahead with the story first. We feel like it's a great way for people, to relate to the characters, hopefully form some kind of emotional bond. And who knows what's going to happen in the future? I'm not saying we're going to be Pokemon, but at least we will have the building blocks to kind of make that happen.
Yeah.
If all of the things kind of come into play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just wanted to add this one thing. Like the thing that we're trying to build right now is essentially this whole universe, this whole world. Like right now, we're just at the city, right? And I think in the future, like if you compare it to what we're trying to achieve, almost like is the whole Marvel universe, right? Like imagine owning Iron Man and having the ability to, I guess, choose where what kind of path Iron Man leads to. Like that's like the kind of control that we want to give people who, I guess, support our project and want to get involved and stuff. I think that's a pretty good comparison. Like just the fact of owning one of the first Avengers or something like that, I think is the kind of aesthetic that we're going for.
Yep. So are you saying that soon there'll come a time where the NFT holders can pick the path for the character to go down, or some narrative choices and things like that?
I just managed to spoil another thing.
Yeah, well, that depends on the timeline. So yeah, that was something we were actually ready to announce to you. That's here's your scoop, right? Depending on when this comes out, it may be like almost public knowledge or not. But basically, one thing we want to do is at the end of book one, there is going to be something of a cliffhanger where every single Tamashii holder will be able to participate in a significant decision for each of their Tamashii and vote on sort of a path for the story to take. Overall, everybody who owns a Tamashii can vote on that. And that'll be sort of permanently crystallized in the story. So when people, go back from 5 years from now, they'll remember like, oh yeah, my Tamashii is, doing this because I decided that. And really that's kind of the beginning of what we want to offer people in terms of, autonomy over the character and not only relating to it on a thematic level, but really feeling like they are participating in the story in a way and feel that ownership over, what they've ultimately purchased.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think It was a good the way Brian you covered it. I can relate. I still walk into a shop at the moment and I see Bulbasaur and Squirtle and Charmander as pillow cushions. I'm like, I must have these one day. But I think that's really stuck with me. And now I totally get it. Like you've created something, you've created a story that people can hold and relate to with their characters. It's not just, um, another picture, I guess. And uh, thank you for the alpha, by the way. I feel like I didn't appreciate that enough. That was great. Now I know Ben is going to slip up majorly, so I'm
Oh,
going to start
oh,
pressuring him.
yeah. They called me. They made me change my name to SM Spoiler in the Discord because I spoil so much.
So, can we talk about Discord? Because I've noticed. So you've got the story. You've created a bit of a backstory. So for everyone listening, I'll include the site links in the show notes. But at the same time, like you can go and kickstart and read the tales that have so far been published, and obviously buy it. You can when the new ones. How often? How big of a collection is it? It's one of 100 or
100. Yeah.
100. Okay, and how many have been released so far?
We released 60.
60. Okay, so not many to
So
go. If you thought
40
Bitcoin was
more.
rare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can actually talk about how we drop it too because that's also um, a whole adventure that we went through.
yeah.
Um, Basically, we asked the community for this, so there's a lot of community voting that happened because
Mm.
we value our community's opinion, and in the end, that's pretty much what makes a project, right? So there's two methods that the drop happens. So the first method is that we drop the three randomly, just random, and these still get scooped up very quick. I know some people message you telling me that they've been refreshing for 4 hours,
Mm.
and
Mm.
it's like a real grind. And then the second method is only to new members. So this is only if you join our Discord. So when you join our Discord, you can register your IC address. Thanks to Brian for building that whole thing. So when you join our Discord, you can register your address, and when you register, you become like a Nozomi citizen. That's what like the title is called, and you basically get thrown into this lottery.
Mm.
So every Thursday at 11:59 p.m. UTC, we choose three addresses for each for each Tamashi. So two Tamashi will be dropped for lottery, and these are three addresses that we pick randomly and only for new members. So they have a chance to fight against two people instead of fighting against however many people that are refreshing every hour.
Yeah.
And that I think is like a good way to get new people involved, also get our Discord involved, and just yeah.
Okay, so to be a part of the Discord, you do not need to have an Tamashii NFT.
Correct.
You just have to have an ICX address to register.
So I've made a actual like a separate channel called the Outskirts, and that's basically for people who don't own an ICX address.
Mhm.
If they're coming from another platform or something, and so they can still see stuff that's going on. And then if you register, then you can essentially enter the city. Like right now, you're just chilling outside, and then if you own an NFT, you own a Tamashi, you can register the Tamashi, and then you get thrown into this like exclusive channel called the Tamashi Tribe.
Ooh.
Hashtag Tamashi Tribe.
Yeah, and then so since we're there, what happens in the tribe? Exclusive
Stays in the
channel.
tribe.
Oh, does it? Oh, damn. Okay.
Stays in the tribe.
There you go. Ben, are you sure you don't want to reveal? I feel like you're itching to tell
Uh,
us. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No.
There's a lot of quality memes in the channel.
yeah,
Ah,
there's a lot of memes.
nice, nice.
And to contextualize, the whole lottery thing for the casual listener who maybe hasn't heard of us before, isn't familiar with our project, um, we list all of the kind of initial Tamashis at 150 ICX, and the floor price right now is 2,000. So that's pretty good return on your investment if you're able to get one. Even if you're not, someone for the long term, we believe the values will go up a lot over time. But even if I think I saw one last week that sold the same day for 2,000 after someone bought it for 150. So
Yep.
even for the casual buyer, there's a a lot of money to be made even in the short term.
If you can fight the cutthroat refreshers.
Mhm.
I'll just ask Brian to build me a butt. It's okay. No, no. Look, I think it's sensational just seeing how it is getting sold out ASAP. It's great, and it just goes to show it put in a lot of thought into it and create a bit of lore, story, and actual use for the NFTs. So with your community that you're building, it's fantastic to see. So I mean, I can ask the most basic questions now. We know Brian as hardcore icon, just like me. So what made you, apart from his influence, pick craft and icon, and you didn't look like Ethereum and things like that, where maybe the audience could have been bigger? Do you want to share some insights on that?
Yeah. Uh, so in terms of icon, we actually tried to do OpenSea before, but the sheer volume of projects, gas fees, there's a lot of like cash grab projects that is just like pump and dumps, and I guess the culture is just not really as inviting for new projects.
Mm.
I feel like there's a lot of projects on OpenSea that they're like 10,000 generative min wash trading, try to get you to pump and dump, and we were also there when the whole like insider trading scandal happened. So it
Oh,
was
yes.
just a very like no. And then uh, I know Brian was involved in Icon, and then so we checked out Craft, and the fees are so much better. Like you're not selling a kidney to mint an NFT, and it's also very inviting for new artists. Like the community is, I think the community is like the best part for Craft. Like, uh, I spend probably like 50% of the day on the Craft Discord, just like
Oh,
looking at
dude.
projects or like seeing what's up with a new CFT price.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely yeah, it's definitely a smaller community. I think it's like a smaller community, but it's a very tight knit community,
Mm.
and it's very supportive. And I guess it's easier to build a community from ground up than we were to do it on any other network.
Yep. No, that's great. That's great to hear. It is an amazing community. I have to agree. Mike, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically what Ben said, the community's been really great, really awesome, really grateful to be part of Craft. We moved over because it's a great community to kind of do startup projects and get noticed, and it's been a really great space for us to grow. Um, I was also sort of a newcomer to the NFT space, so I haven't been super well educated on other NFT marketplaces, but I couldn't be happier with the way Craft has turned out for us and the community we've built so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's also
Great.
the whole BTP thing that very excited for, and I want to see how that affects Craft and the whole NFT space on Icon. I think that's one of the biggest things we're looking forward to.
Look, agree. I think the Brian transmission protocol is going to be a hit. uh, Brian,
Well,
it's been rebranded. Brian, your thoughts on? I mean, I don't know. Do we get to share our views? Well, you're a guest on the show, Brian, so you got to share why icon.
um, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just repeating what Ben said, but I think the main difference between Craft and a lot of other marketplaces out there, including OpenSea, is the aspect of decentralizing the ownership of the platform. Uh, of course, OpenSea has not gone down that route at as of this time. They're actually even looking to get listed on a public exchange soon. So
Mm.
I don't know if they'll ever go down that route of um, decentralizing the ownership. But I think that uh, Craft doing that is pretty special. I think the NFT space is just going to explode in the coming years. I think everything from like like the bracelets you get when you go to a sports game to, the stamp that you get on your hand when you go to a concert. I think eventually all of that is going to be wrapped into this space. And we might see a token that represents like 10 minutes with your favorite band or something. And so I just think like to be able to participate in the growth of this space through ownership of a marketplace that will go cross chain in the future. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm pretty hyped up about Craft.
Yeah, that's good. So, okay, I'll bring it. Ben, you touched on BTP, so I'm going to shift it there, and then I'm going to bring it back to Tamashi again. I have more. I want to get more details out of everyone, but and I know who to direct it to. Don't worry, guys.
Oh god.
So, with the I lost my train of thought. I just got too excited about the goss. BTP. Okay, so who wants to share? What are you envisioning? Your project. How do you envision using BTP? Have you given it a bit of thought? Have some ideas? Do you want to share some insights? I don't want you to give away if you're holding on. I kind of want to. Hopefully, that question is answered in a way to give aspiring builders ideas of how their projects can evolve with BTP with once BTP is integrated and NFTs can move cross chain, etc.
I feel like Brian should take this because I'll spoil it.
Damn.
Yeah, on a general level, I think that something like BTP could kind of present itself in the NFT space in a very unique way. And what I mean by that is like if we think of blockchains as countries, which is a big thing that like Min and Scott and the rest of the team have expressed. The idea that each blockchain has its own participants, has its own economy, has a currency, has different things that you can spend your money on. Some blockchains like Icon, you can even lock up your tokens in order to mint something else. So there's like, it's becoming pretty clear that, a blockchain is pretty much like a country. So if you take that analogy and you bring it into the metaverse / NFT side of things, I think it would be cool if an NFT project, maybe they decide to go down like the game route or something. And instead of having kind of all of the different parts of the map on the same blockchain, you could actually, travel from Icon over to a different blockchain. So the use case of like, I guess, transferring your Tamashii from Icon to a different blockchain within the context, of the game, that might mean you're going to a different part of the map. Like another example of that could be something where, there could be special airdrops if people move their Tamashii over to, this chain for this amount of time because of this thing that's happening within the context of the story, so if you're able to kind of market the technical aspects of BTP in a way that makes sense for people just who are holding, I think that's a cool way to kind of get them involved within the technology a bit more too.
Yeah. I think what you just said is very interesting because I referred to this as well in a last interview I did DeFi Kingdoms is a great one, right? It's a game that's basically gamified yield farming across the DeFi space. And Brian, the example, I don't know if you're giving a little hint here, but could it be possible that in the future, I love that analogy, going to a new nation, it's intertwined in the story somehow, you get there and then you engage it with the protocol somehow related into the story, and it's giving you yield or something of some kind.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Got me excited.
Even something as simple as maybe the Tamashi who's not a good one, the one who's trying to kill people and stuff. Maybe he's on Icon, and then all of the other ones are trying to run to a different chain to avoid him. To like gamify that kind of thing, I think is kind of funny. And if the overall system, if there is some kind of yield farm thing that is implemented, it's like, oh, if the bad guy is on the same chain as you, you're not going to get as much. I think stuff like that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not something that we're working on at the moment. It just came to mind, but yeah, I think those kinds of cross-chain things are going to be cool after BTP goes live.
Ben just messaged me saying it's going live in 2 weeks, as in that idea. So, whew, he's good.
False.
I guess we'll be busy.
I think Fez is plugged into something.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually add on that. Not spoiling, try not spoiling, but multi-chain, like a multiverse, multiple stuff.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna stop myself right there.
No, look, I think it's really good. That's perfect. I see it intertwines nations. There's so many directions. Cross chain can intertwine into the story and what y'all are building with Tamashii. I actually consider myself. Well, I've been using this term lately. Schooled. I feel very schooled. I've learned a lot, and I see. So okay. So now, honestly, I've gotten into Discord, and then I've stopped there, thinking I still don't have my Tamashii, so I can't do anything. But yes, I must get into the lottery now. In fact, this Tamashi that goes around killing everyone sounds like a Fez all over. So no, kid, I'm not that type of person. But yes, I must bid for this one.
That's what that kind of person would say.
That's exactly what that kind of person would say.
Does that mean you're gonna, Does that mean I'm in the making for Tamashii? Okay, hint. I kid. Okay, so that's great. That's you've given me a lot more information than I wanted. So I wanted to keep that's the interoperability question answered. Is there anything else you want to add around that?
I feel like I'll spoil too much if I keep going.
Okay. So
no, I don't think so.
No? Okay. Well, one other question I had is, so you've got the books. Is there plans to, and I noticed this was a community question as well in your Discord, is there plans to release future books or editions as NFTs, things like that? Or is it strictly the Tamashii that will be NFTs?
Brian?
There's a lot in the works. Who wants to go first? Me?
You can go first on this one.
Okay. So our number one priority is to build a brand, because without a recognizable brand, I don't think, in the long term, any content that we come out with or any other stuff that we do will have much impact. So the really first priority is to build that brand, and I think building the brand is something that a lot of NFT projects don't prioritize as much as they should be, because they often fall into a trap where they might believe that they're actually doing just that. And what I mean by that is that there's many projects out there that in addition to just selling the actual art or whatever they're trying to sell, they have additional incentives. And if you think about it, those additional incentives is just sort of a subsidy of time. You're basically subsidizing the people who are holding uh, your stuff. Um, you want them, engaged, but in some way, I feel like that kind of model ends up leading to maybe like false expectations, and it's something that we decided like not to do. Not to inflate our brand um, with whatever it is, and an additional token or some other form of incentives, but just for the time being. Like until we feel like we actually have a brand that is not being artificially inflated with incentives. So that's like the number one focus that we have for now. And I don't think this is leaking because I think I've kind of mentioned this before, but we're actually working on um, the music aspect of things for the Tamashii. Like me, Ben, and Mike have sort of done music. Well, me and Ben have. Mike has also done some
Mike's
music
done
stuff
music.
back in school. Yeah.
Yeah.
To a
But like,
passable level. More them.
yeah. So like I went to school for music-ish, and Ben has been doing music for pretty much his whole life too. So like the idea of music just came naturally. And I think that music is very powerful in building a brand because it sort of gives you a way. It's a shortcut to be able to form a connection with people. Like I was actually just talking to Ben and Mike about this like a few days ago. Like if you ask someone to read the story, um, depending on like how they read and stuff, they might not feel the feelings to a very strong degree, I guess. But I think music is more impactful when it comes to that kind of thing. If you play a song for someone, you can ask them if it's sad or happy, and like everyone will just understand it's sad or happy.
It's a
They
very
don't know
universal,
why. Yeah,
universal
they don't know
language.
why it's sad or happy, but they can tell you. So we feel that by including music within our brand, that's going to be a very powerful thing um, in order to develop it. So right now we're actually working on um, kind of a musical theme for Tamashii 1 through 100. So they'll have their own theme, and
Low jingle.
and yeah. And later on, we're also in the early stages of thinking uh, about sort of like a film score kind of thing. If you're reading chapter one, what would that sound like? Like if Tamashii story were made into a film someday, it's like what would that part of the story, what would be the music playing behind it? And we feel that's cool because once we have that film score, um, and once we have those 100 kind of themes, if people hear their Tamashii theme within the film score, you know, I think that's going to be a really cool experience for them.
So
Yeah.
So with the Tamashi, as you know, the owner, they've bought it, they have it, it's their NFT. Now, as you have these jingles, I'll refer to, they're not jingles, but the 100 jingles that are associated, will they get...
Well, that's what that's kind of what I call them too. So
Okay, so jingles it is. Will it go with the NFT? So kind of just like how the NFT's been sold and they own it, the jingle comes, it's like a airdrop that's going to come per se. Can we call it that? Or is it the jingles more relate to the story component
Right.
from the books.
Yeah, we haven't decided like whether it'll be an airdrop yet or whether it'll be like a separate thing that people will have to buy, you know?
Okay.
There might be like additional something, you know, if you own the Tamashii plus the jingle, you know, like what does that mean? So that's still all in the works. A lot of stuff that we're doing, like behind the scenes, you know, creating a film score is not going to be cheap. So we kind of always have to weigh the cost benefit of like, should we just airdrop this and kind of get value in the form of the community sentiment, or do we sell it in order to capture the value in cash that we can spend on growing the project? So that's something that we're still thinking about.
Sorry, I defaulted because we had that brand conversation, so I thought, but at the same time, it's interesting as you've been talking, because if you decide to go down the NFT route, then you have basically your 100, whoever owns the Tamashii is kind of looking at this and going, well, I want to get the jingle that is associated to mine. And if they don't, all of a sudden you've already created a market demand for each jingle. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Wait, Ben's itching to give me more goss. Go on.
Do we want to go back on the original question about the book? That was kind of what the tangent that we just went off.
Yes.
I guess I can talk about this a little bit without giving too much. We do have plans to do maybe like a comic question mark or like a manga. And I think
Manga.
after we
Not
develop like
manga.
Sorry, manga. After we I took this class in college too. If we decide to go this route, I think once we develop like a really strong branding and when the story gets to a point, I think let me stop there. But I think we want to create something that would be like accessible to anyone that comes to our project, right? I think we would have to reach to a level where the like Brian said, like the cost benefits, it wouldn't be something that we want people to essentially like pay for it to see, because when you go to like Marvel or something, you can just there's also so much like sites online that you can just look up people's comic books. But I think if you go to our website, you go to our project, and you see the story, that is way more captivating than, hey, let's sell you this story, right? Because we are selling so much more stuff within this ecosystem that it wouldn't make much sense for us to sell like books or like sell comics as NFTs. I know like a lot of projects do that on like OpenSea. I've seen a bunch of them where you're done.
I don't understand it.
You're done reading it and you resell it. There's like 1,000 copies or whatever. I think that incentive is like owning a comic on like as an NFT. I feel like that defeats like the purpose of owning a comic. Like if you think back to the early days, you own like the first issue of the Avengers or something, or Batman. Like that's worth money because it's the first issue, right? Like the paper quality, like PSA grade 10 or something, and that like whole aspect is taken out of it when you digitalize it. And we want people to come to our project and see these comics and see the story bring to life without having them pay a like hefty price for it, right?
Yeah.
And I
think what Ben is trying to go ahead, Mike.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that in terms of delivering value, we have a lot of plans, ideas, and even like concrete plans that we've committed to internally that can't really talk about to kind of constantly deliver value to people in a way that doesn't compromise the value of existing NFTs. So for example, we have the 100 Tamashii. Once we get to 100, we're not going to do another 100 Tamashii. Surprise, there's 200 now. That would cheapen it, So we have a
Next
lot of ideas
generation of
to
Pokemon.
I
keep
was
the
just going to
train
say
running without cheapening what anyone
Yeah.
has.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And so, look, I think what I love here is there's a few things you've touched on. Everything is story driven, and that's what's creating value in the NFTs you've created and the universe that you've created, which is then as it evolves. Everything will evolve through through the story, because that's that's what you're trying to create, your brand. And so when we're talking BTP, you're talking cross-chain, you're talking music, or anything extra that gets added into the NFT, into this collection, would kind of be intertwined into the universe you've built. Love it. I will call out, Ben, I don't quite agree with the NFT comic. I understand the point, but one could argue I could release a one-of-a-kind first digital edition of a comic only acquired by NFT. That becomes
Let me
immense.
explain that. I think I know what Ben was trying to say. I think what Ben was trying to say was that a lot of those use cases where you see, I'm going to mint a one-of-one comic book is not really playing to the, intrinsic advantages of NFT, but by using the intrinsic advantages of another format, which is the paper book, and translating that to the NFT. So it's just not using NFT to its potential, but relying on, aspects of another format which people already understand, and just trying to sell them that. So I think it's more of a potential thing.
There's no innovation in it, right? You've taken something that worked in an old technology and reinvented and used it the same way, rather than seeing that 100%
Yeah,
agree
Brian can
with.
explain it way better.
I don't. People finally the show gets a massive following because people are up in arms. What did he say about NFTs? But no, look, that's great. I think so. The one other question that was coming up, well, Digital Dave has asked this, and it seems like there's agreement across different people. So, is there hard book cover editions planned in the future for the stories? Is this something y'all would like to do?
I would love to do that. I'm kind of like a book nerd when it comes to like really nice paper and really nice printing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I think it would be cool if there was, the story along with some kind of art, in a really, really nice book. So
let me. I wanted to ask: is the books going to be available for everyone to read the stories of all the editions, or are they going to be? Is each character coming with its own tale, or is all of the story component actually there for everyone to read and buy into the lure, be part of the story, so then they want to go and acquire the Tamashii? I feel like I should have asked this first.
Maybe that's a question for Mike.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. If I understand the question correctly, it sounds like you're asking if parts of the story are going to be kind of private and that only a few people can see them, or is it going to be all public?
Yes.
So our plan is for the story to be all public, all accessible for people to read. Obviously, depending on your ownership, you'll have a different degree of participation in the story and ownership over different characters. But yeah, people will be able to read everything, see everything, engage in it as much as they want to, really.
Yeah. No, that's great. And Ben, that ties into your point, isn't it? Like people need to see it to then kind of want to. Otherwise,
see it to believe it.
That's
the
great. Sorry, Brian, did I cut you off when you were saying? As soon as you said, I didn't want to forget that thought.
What was I saying? Oh, the hardcover book.
Yes.
It's not something we've like explicitly planned.
Yeah.
But it's something that I personally would want to do, just because I really like those kinds of books. So
I think this is why
it could happen.
And this is why I asked that particular question around the books and the story, because if they are available, you can then kind of go, okay, well, exclusive hard edition covers from chapters book 1 to 3, etc., and make them available, limited numbers, and probably people who have the Tamashis can lock in a pre-order, etc. I'm just going off a whim here, but
I'm gonna drop some alpha here.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I was
So,
gonna drop
like,
alpha too. Never mind. All right, go ahead.
So
Brian.
for something like a book, that I consider that to be like a derivative work of the story. It's just like doing the story in a different format that you then resell and people can buy. So one of the most interesting aspects of NFT is provable ownership of a character in this case. So like I think it could be cool if like in order for us to publish the book or publish a chapter, all of the people who own the Tamashii, or like a majority of them have to agree to license their, their token back to us to create this book. And it would be cool as well for, let's say, like every book sold, if you own the Tamashii, you might get a small cut of that.
Yeah.
So like that's why NFT is so powerful, I think, because it allows you to create a positive feedback loop that lets you do that, because if people feel like that they're able to be exposed to some kind of upside by this content being repurposed into different ways and resold, that also gives them an incentive to, make that happen. So I think these kinds of incentive loops are really cool, and yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how something like that could play out.
That's awesome. I'm going to go to the other 2 alpha drops I heard about. Just on that though as well, like it's pretty cool when people listen to this. What I'm excited about is, I mean, if they're part of the Discord and you've been talking about this, then they'll know. But people who haven't been are going to kind of hear this and keep having all these aha moments. I mean, I just thought of that idea as you said it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is potential, and you've kind of hinted at that being a possibility, but it also everything we've talked about so far just creates this value add for your 100 unique Tamashi. See, I didn't do plural that time. But who else had the alpha drop now? Mike, I heard your voice.
I don't think I have any big alpha to drop. I'm a little lighter on the spoilers. Sorry to disappoint you, but I think Ben might have said something.
Okay, so
Yeah, I wanted to add on the whole owning, like the whole like taking what's existing and making products out of it. I think it's one of the questions actually. It's from Weedsman. It's the 3D figures question mark. I hinted at this like a few months ago, just to see like what if, like what the community thinks. So like the whole like figurine thing, I think I'm a really big fan of bear bricks. I'm not sure if you've heard of bear bricks. They're these Mickey Mouse looking bears that are pretty massive in the streetwear industry. I'm like really into streetwear, and if it's kind of like what are those things called, Mike? Those things that you see at like the Newberry Comics. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's like not a bobblehead, but it's like every character from every franchise. Yeah.
It's like pop. It's something pop. I forget what it's called.
Yeah. Top heads.
It's similar to that, but maybe like more unique. And I had this idea that maybe if we get to the point where we can do this, because this will probably cost a lot of money. It's essentially create these one of one tokenized figurines, and this would kind of be like the whole packaging the box. It'll look like the Tamashi, and maybe it's similar to something what like Weinbo does, right? The tokenized merch, like burning something, they send you the stuff, and then the supply goes down, demand goes up, something like that. Where maybe if we can, the sales that goes to that, the person who owns that specific Tamashi will get a cut of that, and that whole the whole like toy figurine thing, I feel like is a very refreshing idea, because you think about like NFTs, it's the digital, but you get something physical, and it's like maybe in the physical we put something that is digital. It's like, it's like I think it's a really cool idea that we definitely can get to in the future.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I always keep coming back. I think your mind defaults when there's a brand, everything that comes from that brand goes to the brand creator, right? And actually,
Mhm.
that's what happens in real life. What you'll have gotten through today, I feel, is yes, we're creating a brand, we're doing everything, and everything we've got planned for the future in the brand for the brand. We know that one, the Tamashis belong to the new owners, so they would need to vote and be part of the process of evolution in terms of
Mhm.
how the brand could be commercialized further. Would that be a fair overview in that from that aspect?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's a kind of a grand experiment.
yeah,
There's like the current model of the creators get all of the upside, has been in existence for hundreds of years. So it's always curious to me to think about, you know, what would happen if that was distributed more.
yeah.
Um, and like if all of the incentives were built in a way that could make the brand grow like exponentially more than what it would have done
Mhm.
if it was uh
Yeah.
just centralized.
Like imagine if you own like Mona Lisa, right? And you owned every variation of Mona Lisa that ever came out.
Mm.
Any like, stuff that was made about Mona Lisa. Like that's like the idea, I think.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great. So I think we've covered a lot with a lot of alpha drops as well. So that's been good. Is there anything? Do we want to close this out? And I haven't gone through all the community questions. I've squeezed a couple in there. So apologies for everyone from the community listening. But I think we've been an hour. So is there any closing comments? Anything you want to cover? Ben, I'll throw to you.
Um, give it to someone else, right? I gotta think about this.
You're right. I'll come back to you for some alpha.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, how about you?
Yeah, it's been a really great experience so far. Particularly one thing that surprised me the most is that people have really engaged in the story this early in a meaningful way, which is great. One of my fears was that, when you're writing a story, the big, epic, meaty parts typically happen a bit later, and we haven't really even gotten to those yet. So one of my anxieties was that, oh, people will look at this and, like way far into it, then they'll get engaged, once a lot is published. But people have liked it so far and gotten engaged with it, which I'm very happy with. And we're really grateful for the community for all the, support they've given us, and they've liked what we built and given some really good feedback. So, very grateful to be on here. Thank you so much for having us on. It's really a pleasure and an honor to kind of have this platform and talk about what we've done. So yeah, just very happy with everything that's happened so far, and
Yep.
our
Yep.
plans going forward.
Yep.
Excellent. Thanks, Mike. No, the honor is all ours to have you on the show as well. So great. Um,
I think I thought about it. There is something that I want to talk about. It's like not really a alpha per se, but I've said it a few times. But we do plan on doing a giveaway soon, and the idea behind giveaways that I don't like is, some people get stuff, right?
mm,
But what if everyone got something? So we are planning something that we want to do that kind of are like hit a milestone, and we want to get back to the entire community, everyone that was involved or that have been specifically in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, link in the bio maybe. But I think we're trying to give back to as much people as we can, because a lot of people I know haven't really been able to get involved with the project, like specifically getting a Tamashi, because they're just very hard to get. So we want to give those people like, oh, like we know you're here, like thanks for supporting, like we really value your we really value your support. So it's kind of like a giveaway for everyone kind of thing. And we were, I said this in the Discord, I said it on Twitter, but we are rewarding active Discord members too. So like if you're engaging in the story, like talking about, you know, what happens to this, what happens to that, talking about like some of the Tamashii, maybe your favorite Tamashii, maybe just like Tamashii and chill, and you know, just any way to get involved. Like we see you, we know you're there. So when we hit that milestone, we will definitely won't forget them. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Looking forward to it, Brian.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I want to say is that like we're doing more than just selling JPEGs. So there's a lot in the works, and I like Ben. I also want to say like everything that we're doing and everything that we're planning internally, I think the priority is giving back to our supporters first, and then us.
Yeah, my favorite quote is that I say a lot is 90% community, 10% us. I tweet this so much, and it's 100% true because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the community.
Yeah, like if us three were just buying up all of them and talking to ourselves on Discord, you know, that's not quite the same thing. So
no, great. Okay, look, that's awesome. I agree. I think that's very much come through. They're not just JPEGs through this interview. In fact, we spent very little time talking about the art itself because they each of them are so unique and look cool. We haven't even focused on made the conversation around that. We've literally the entire time talked around story and you know that those components and I'd like to think more around utility. You know, it is kind of taking what NFTs offer, the technology it offers, and building off it and innovating on it. So I love interviews like this where at the end of it I go, well, I've learned a lot. And again, today I've come away learning a ton about the project, but in just general, the mindset of what y'all are trying to achieve and do with it. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And I'm sure not just your community, everyone across the Icon ecosystem, and hopefully just those NFT lovers out there who decide to dabble and listen to this podcast, listen and get in line to take part in the lottery and any other way they can acquire Tamashii.
Yeah. So, thanks for having us on, Fez.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that means a lot.
No worries, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Fez.
No worries. And thanks everyone for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. The new channel is slowly growing, but we need more support. Getting 1,000 listens, but 100 subscribers to every episode. So let's get in there and like and subscribe, everyone. Really appreciate everyone taking the time to do that. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show. Take care, everyone.